Okay, hi, my name is Jocelyn. We're from the class Emprendimiento, and we're here to ask about a few ideas that we have to help the environment.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, what's your name?
My name is Benjamin Sanchez, and I am a professor from the Faculty of Civil and Environmental Engineering.
Okay, so the first idea that we have is about recycling, and we thought about putting machines in places where people go a lot, like the malls, supermarkets, parking lots, etc. And we plan to put machines that receive, I don't know, plastic bottles or anything that could be recyclable. And we thought that it would be interesting if people just went there and put, I don't know, like 10 bottles of plastic, and the machine will give like an incentive. If it's in a supermarket, then it could be like coupons or something like that, and maybe even money. So the first question is, how viable do you think this idea is?
I think that this is a really nice idea. It's really neat. It's really neat, but it's not new at all, because as we know, all these topics related with recycling materials has been done, and there's an entire supply chain around this industry since the last, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 years for saying something. So I will say that, yeah, it's affordable, it's viable, but the thing is that one of the barriers that you are going to find is that is the education of the people, because it's not new that you can get some profit if you take your recycling materials into a company, and you can get some significant money. But I don't know, in my opinion, it's more than that. The people and the population that recycles has to do that because they are convinced that there are other benefits involved. So it's perfect that you are thinking something very tangible, that is like the economical profit. But in my opinion, and nowadays you cannot rely just in that, because in thinking about our context in Mexico, we have to remember that our country, we have a serious challenge with education in general. There is more than 60% of people that is living in poverty or extreme poverty, and that means that they don't have education. And if they don't have education, that means that the only driver for them to recycle in doing this kind of like stuff is, as you said, is the economical benefit. But of course, I know a little bit about the prices, and I mean, if you bring just 10 bottles of plastics, you're gonna get almost nothing. You're gonna get just some cents. So just imagine this part of the population that they are in poverty, and you are giving to them as an exchange just a little amount of money. So I will think that, in my guess, will be that it's not gonna be very. They're not gonna look at them as a possibility. And so I think it's a good idea, because it's better than nothing. But I will say that, in my opinion, there's a challenge behind that. Is a challenge of education.
Okay. The second question is, what resources do you think are essential for this idea?
For resources, you said something that you are planning to install machines. So the question will be that, who's gonna pay for those machines?
Okay, so we need to get like sponsors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And for sponsors, it will be even the government.
Okay.
Just thinking out loud.
Okay. And again, what do you think are the main challenges that we're gonna face if we go on with this idea?
I think that I answered that question with the first one. The first challenge is gonna be that we're gonna face is if it is profitable, the idea.
Okay.
I mean, because you have to make some numbers about what are the kind of machines that you have to build into place in different places, and to see if who is gonna pay for those machines, or if the business is gonna give and bring enough money in order to pay for those machines.
Okay. How do you think we can get the resources or the sponsors for this idea?
for this case in particular, that is thinking about recycling and ideas of sustainability, I will say that you're gonna find some, I will say several companies that are gonna be able to support your idea, just to be able to advertise their names, because sometimes when we think about sustainability, this has become something like a trending topic.
Very
so
popular.
exactly. So sometimes some companies doesn't understand, and they don't have to. I mean, they don't understand what's going on, but just if you give them the promotion by putting their labels in your machines or stuff like that, or the idea, I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're gonna be willing to give some resources. That will be some, but I don't know how many will be like will be willing to support your ideas, and also the government. I will say I am pretty sure that there are funds that you can find from the government.
Okay. And what changes would you make
To the idea?
to make it work?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't think very well in this point, but I will say maybe changing the approach just a little bit, because I am telling you, as I understand and I know, the recycling industry is something that has been developed for years. And because of that, there is not too many things that we can add. I mean, something that is already working. Why? Because recycling stuff, recycling materials, the material in itself has value. So these companies has built up an entire industry and a value chain around this concept. So thinking is something that you can change. It could be, I don't know, it could be interesting. But right now I don't have the idea. But I encourage you to do some research, because I am pretty sure that you could find something new to add. Because I'm thinking, and it's something that it will be recurrent in the next questions, I guess, because of my background. I am a civil engineer, but inside of civil engineering, what I do is applying disruptive new technologies that are emerging nowadays in order to do any kind of constructive or deconstructive process more efficient, and everything with a life cycle perspective. And so that means that, this is a little bit long the answer, but it matters because what I'm trying to say is that right now we are living in an era of digitalization. So everything, all the industries are shifting from to this digital world. That means that everything, you can find any kind of components, processes, businesses, everything in platforms. So something that I will call as an example is what happened with these companies Uber and Airbnb, that in such a short period of time, that it was no more than 5 years, those companies has revolutionated their industries, and it was because they incorporated three neat ideas that were possible just because of this digitalization of the world, right? So I'm just saying this out loud, but it's to encourage you in order to keep looking for alternatives, keep thinking, and of course we have plenty of examples of what is going on around all this digital world in marketplaces and platforms, but there's so many other things that are coming. It's just a matter of keep thinking, about what is all the power that we have in all these devices or cell phones, and how they all can work together in order to create new business models. Like, for example, inside of the recycling materials, that is very old, but if you add all these kind of new tools, for sure you can find something extra to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the second idea that we have is about jicara and bullets. And these are some recipients where you can drink from. It's kind of inexpensive and very popular in the north of Mexico. So our idea is to encourage the use of these recipients and maybe selling them with some designs or personalized. And yeah, just make it very common for the daily use. So it's the same questions. The first one is, how viable do you think this idea is?
Okay, I think we talk about this out of camera. I like this idea a lot because it sounds very affordable. It sounds very new, also fresh and new. So in comparison to the other idea about recycling, so to be honest, I don't know too much or maybe nothing about this kind of specific idea of producing bullets and then cleaning them and then trying to change them and put them into the market in order as another kind of usable item. I just have vague ideas, but I like it more, and I like it more because I mean, uh, I'm just thinking out loud, and the container it's something that right now is taken as garbage, and also the container of the bullet or it's something that is totally friendly, environmentally friendly because it belongs to it's part of the fruit of a tree or something like that. So I really like the idea, and I think that it could be. I don't think that you're gonna find resistance in order to create to find the source of the bullets and also trying to put them into the market.
Okay. What resources do you think are essential for this idea?
Maybe I already said some of them. I will say that the resources are going to be to find the producers of the bullets and to make an agreement with them to see if they are using the bullets for something, or in the best of the cases, is something that is just garbage for them. So in that way, you're just gonna have to be clever in order to locate where all these bullets coming from, and where are in thinking about the market, I don't think that you're going to struggle because these kind of like containers that I am trying to imagine, I think that's something that you can sell anywhere in any kind of market, and more if you are selling them as a ecological product or something like that. I think it's going to be you're going to have a good acceptance.
Okay. What are the main challenges that you think we're going to face?
Main challenges, maybe just to think about the profit. I'm not sure how much are you gonna be able, if you have any kind of budget that you have to run these ideas, even as a concept. But it's just a matter to sit down and make some numbers in order to see how much the raw material is gonna cost to you, how much the transformation process is gonna cost to you, and how much profit are you gonna make from this business, if that is the purpose. Because right now what I'm trying to imagine is that this is a business to make a profit, but sometimes not everything has to turn around the profit. So if you are doing these kind of projects just as a personal project to help the environment, I think it's something that you're gonna enjoy a lot, and you're not gonna invest money at all, because you're gonna just maybe put some money in the beginning, but also you're gonna get some money at the end, and maybe you're not gonna make any profit, but you're gonna have fun, and you're gonna spread education about sustainability and concepts like that.
Okay, so how do you think we can get the resources or the sponsors for this idea? Because we obviously need to have some money to develop it.
I will say everything depends in the scale of the project that you are planning for this idea in particular. But you can start, and I told you this out of camera, you can start with something very simple. You can start with, I don't know, maybe just a couple or maybe less than 100 bullets, and to see how it works. If you find the dealer, the producer, then you put everything into a manufacturing process for doing something, and then you sell them. And then you can just do it as a trial and error business.
Okay. And what changes would you make to this? I mean, it's a very vague and very raw idea, but what changes do you think we should make?
Changes, I don't know. I like this idea because it's something that seems that it's handleable for you for develop in the rest of this year or the rest of this semester. So I like it, and also I like it because it looks and it sounds very flexible. So you can change, you can establish the scale of production from the beginning. That could be just a couple of items, and that's it. Or if you see, and if you do the research and you see that this thing is gonna, or in the meantime you find a producer that has a large amount of bullets, so you can scale it pretty fast.
Okay.
So no changes at this point. I will say that just keep going, and I think you're not gonna struggle.
Okay. The last idea that we have is about clothing containers, and we thought about putting maybe like trash cans or something like that in airports and bus stations. And because you have like the extra luggage, when you have extra luggage, you have to pay to be able to travel with that. And there's a lot of people that just throw their clothes to the trash. And since the fashion industry like contaminates a lot, we thought it would be good to give like a second use to these clothes that they throw in the garbage. And instead of just going to the trash, then maybe donate it, or maybe even selling in a thrift shop or something like that. So the first question is, how viable do you think this idea is?
Okay, I think it's affordable, but I was thinking that talking about specific these kind of places that airports and even bus stations, but maybe more airports. We, as you know, I mean, there's very strict regulations about the items that you are carry with you, and it's just because you don't know what are the intentions that another people could have with a specific item. That could be, I mean, clothes in itself is harmless, but you never know, you know. So I think that just because of that, you should make like a little bit more of research about how technical feasible is this idea. Because if from the beginning you're gonna have that there is a strict international regulations that states that you are not able to do this kind of exchange of items inside of the airport, I mean, from the beginning it's pointless that you try to think more about this kind of business. That in itself it sounds good. It makes sense, but I don't know how feasible it could be and realistic.
Okay. What resources do you think are essential?
Resources, I think, if it is possible and realistic, I don't know. I mean, as you said, I mean, talking about containers, I don't think that the resources and investments are going to be huge. Maybe you can even recycle those kinds of containers. Maybe it's more related with the labor, with the people that is going to be taking care of the recovered stuff, and maybe cleaning them and maybe sorting them in order to deal with them in another way.
Okay. What do you think are the main challenges that we're gonna face with this idea?
Oh, the first thing that I said, it would be like permissions. The permission from the institution, the government or the airport in itself.
Okay, and what changes would you make to this idea?
Changes, I will say. I don't know. It could be that. First of all, I'm telling you, it has to be realistic, and if it is realistic, maybe it could be a good idea to expand the idea. And I don't know. I mean, I am understanding why you pointed out the airports, but why not expanding the idea and to put it out of the airport and everywhere? Also, that could work.
Okay, and to wrap up these three ideas that we have, what advice do you have for us?
That from the beginning, you have to be very aware about how realistic is one of the projects that you would like to start. And my other recommendation for you is that if it is possible, you should develop a life cycle assessment for the ideas in order to compare them.
Okay.
Because I know you don't have to know how to develop an accurate life cycle assessment, but if you can find like a rough idea about what are the benefits that you're gonna find, and that you can compare from one idea to the other one, in that way you're gonna have like a very quantitative money in order to say we are choosing this project because we're finding a better environmental profit with this one or with this other one, if it is possible.
Okay.